Injuries have been an all too familiar story of this Philadelphia 76ers season, but it also has paved the way for us to get a better look at some of the young talent that we might not have expected. Justin Edwards is at the top of this list and seems to be making a name for himself in the Sixers organization a bit sooner than most of us expected. The Sixers added Edwards after this year's NBA draft as an undrafted free agent. He is on a two-way contract for this year and is making the most of his opportunities. So what sparked me to record this and kind of voice my belief in Edwards, what I'm seeing from him this season, both at the G League level and in the brief moments at the NBA, is that he did get the opportunity in back-to-back games. In that Kings game, he checked in the first quarter for real deal minutes. Now, really why this opportunity has been created has been the injury to Kelly Oubre. And I'm recording this before the game against the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Oubre is listed as doubtful currently for that, so it would not shock me if we see Edwards again. And just to note, they were real deal minutes in the Kings in the first quarter and a little bit in the second. More of the garbage time against the Warriors, but unfortunately, there was plenty of garbage time there, so we did get a chance to see him. But to dive into a little bit of who Edwards is, first I want to start off with the way that he has been hooping at the G League. This is December 30th, not too long ago, just a little bit over a week at this point, that Justin Edwards, with a game-high 30 points, also added 4 rebounds, has become a key staple on that Delaware Blue Coats team. And to dive into his G League stats specifically, that he's played 14 games for the Blue Coats, 32.8 minutes per game, 18.2 points, 1.9 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 1.2 steals, which I love that number there and do want to harp on that a little bit further. Shooting 38% from three, which is going to be a huge swing scale for him on 7.1 three-point attempts, so pretty good volume for him. This is kind of who Justin Edwards is. He is one of these real deal wing type players that is kind of growing into the mold of what he can be at the NBA level. Now, what I'm incredibly encouraged by is I believe he has the right mindset from a defensive-minded approach. That is where he can carve out a niche for himself at the NBA level. I think Edwards gets that. I had a chance to speak to him at the Rump Classic not too long ago, actually, and he was pretty open about that. So to kind of dive into my quote here, that I did speak with him. Kind of cool that he is just a Philadelphia kid himself, went to Emotep Charter. I did have a chance to watch him play once in high school, but his quote when I asked him specifically about the defense, he said, "I've always been a solid defender, but I think to be a better player, I have to be a way better defender. That's one of the goals that I've been working on." And it did seem like he genuinely meant it. I will note he was kind of a shy kid, which was kind of cool to see, but very cool event that he was at there. Kind of cool that he was showing his face, and obviously we've seen the success from here. But to kind of reinforce and reflect on his pathway to this point, he is a guy who the opportunity has not opened itself up for him the way it was kind of expected. That he was a really highly ranked recruit, to dive into that here, that he was the number 3 in the country, number 1 at the small forward position, number 1 in Pennsylvania here, ultimately committed to Kentucky and sort of in the John Calipari way, this being the final year of Coach Cal at Kentucky there, that he brought in as much talent as he can and kind of lets them fight it out. And unfortunately for Edwards, he was caught on the outside looking in. Guys like Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd sort of overshadowed him on the season, but there were still some flashes of what he can do. And to kind of reflect on his full college stats here, that he played 32 games for Kentucky, started 30 of them, but did only play 21.4 minutes per game. He averaged 8.8 points, 0.9 steals, which is concerning here, and that's what I kind of get back to is the defense. I think he's embracing that side of the floor a lot more, but he did add 3.4 rebounds. He shot 48.6% from the field, 36.5% from three on 2.7 attempts there. Not bad volume or numbers there. I'm okay with most of that, and I will say watching a number of the games, I do watch Kentucky pretty often because does tend to be one of the college teams that I gravitate towards. I thought he had his flashes where you could see it, but he was a raw prospect, and I'd never kind of got the buzz of this guy could be the number 1 pick next year, which there was a little bit of him coming out of high school. That was kind of the word. When I did get a chance to watch him in high school, I couldn't see the vision for what he could become, but I thought he was way farther away than a lot of people were letting on, and I think that's sort of how things have played itself out. I still believe in this guy in the long haul. I think 2-3 years from now, this could be an impact player for this Sixers team, but I do think that it's not going to be, a day one guy, which is why he is on a two-way contract and playing through things in the G League. And to kind of reflect on the scouting report from him back in high school, did want to pull this here, this from Adam Finkelstein, the director of scouting at 247 Sports. He writes, "When Edwards is at his best, he's scoring at multiple levels, being active defensively, and showing his ability to rebound in high volume. He's a lefty with good positional size at 6'7" and naturally soft hands. He's a very advanced mid-range game with an ability to get to his spots, pull up over the top of contesting defenders, and even utilize a floater if he gets deep enough. He wasn't just settling for tough twos at the Peach Jam, though, and instead attacking the rim aggressively with a straight line slashing style and no wasted dribbles. He's capable of shooting. He's a capable shooting threat from beyond the three-point line, but he would do well to keep developing both his handle and long-distance shooting. Physically, he has a wiry frame that he must bulk up. He can get bumped off his spots at times offensively, but shows deceptive strength on the defensive end in terms of his ability to body up with bigger players in the post, making him more switchable up the lineup than down. Edwards is also an excellent wing defender who's going to be able to play small ball 4 at the next level once he adds more muscle mass. While he doesn't measure out especially long, he gets his hands on a lot of balls defensively with good instincts and reactions in any type of trapping or scrambling scheme. Overall, he's the most versatile scorer of the group, one of the best rebounders, and has some positional versatility. So a lot of good stuff, but sort of a lot of buzzwords, I would say, that they are, things that he can be or could be, not quite that he is at this point or was at the time that this was written. Now, to speak on my vision for Edwards, I think Kelly Oubre Jr. is a pretty perfect model of his game. And what I mean is the version of Kelly Oubre Jr. that is currently on this Sixers team. Not the Kelly Oubre that we saw with the Charlotte Hornets or with the Washington Wizards, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, where he obviously kind of played himself off several organizations. Why Kelly has found something here in Philadelphia is he's bought in to the dirty work, that he defends at an incredibly high level. He uses his length. He's constantly poking and prodding at the ball, trying to force steals. The buy-in defensively is real. And if Edwards can kind of follow that pathway, which is what I think Nick Nurse is exactly trying to do with him, there is a world where he can find minutes a little bit sooner than we may expect. I even think there's a world where if he can make the most of this current opportunity, I think today against the Brooklyn Nets will be a big one for Edwards if he gets that same level of chance on the floor, that he could, pave something out or potentially find his way. Let's also not forget that this Sixers team still has one open roster spot. Yes, Edwards is on a two-way, and I think that he will be a guy that stays down on that kind of swing spot for the length of the season. But if he earns his role and is ready for a full NBA opportunity, the Sixers will reward him and give him a standard NBA contract. Let's not forget they did the same exact thing with Jeff Doughton last year. I kind of think that is how things are going to shake out again this year. I mean, I've spoken about how frustrating it is to see Kyle Lowry. I can't believe in the year 2025 that Kyle Lowry is chasing Steph Curry around screens, and that's what Nick Nurse believed was the good game plan. But nonetheless, I would like to see Jeff Doughton get a little more expanded opportunity as well. But these are good G League talent, good intriguing prospects to have in the organization. I think Doughton, and more so Edwards, kind of coming from the opposite ends here, that Doughton specifically is more of like a role player, impact, can do something right now. Edwards is more of the lottery ticket that I think could put something on his plate now, but really could grow into something larger in the future. So I love that this is the way that the Sixers are kind of attacking the two-way spots, and I think it's clear to assess at this point that Daryl Morey, we can start to see the way that he attacks things. He likes the blue chip prospects, the Duke, the Kentucky guys, and when they show that success in those major programs, those are the guys that he wants to take chance on. Obviously, we have some success stories right in front of our face with guys like Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain there. I think Justin Edwards could be the next one on that list. So would love to hear from you guys in the comments, your thoughts on that as well. Is this a guy that you're believing in and can bring something to the Sixers team in the near future? And I do believe once again that they continue to go down this pathway of embracing this athleticism, this versatility, this hands everywhere, forcing turnovers defensively. That's the identity that the Sixers team is trying to build, and I do think Edwards could be a piece of that puzzle there. So shout out to Justin Edwards for hooping down in the G League. Do hope he gets more of an opportunity with the Sixers team, particularly as the injuries continue. Shout out to the Sixers for bringing him in and taking the chance on a Philly kid who just might reward them, and shout out to you guys for tuning into this video here. So appreciate each and one of you guys watching. As always, make sure you're smashing that subscribe button if you have not already, and be back talking to you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.